There are moments in K-pop that feel carefully crafted, polished down to the smallest detail, designed to be replayed millions of times across screens around the world. And then there are moments that slip through the cracks, moments never meant to be seen, never meant to trend, never meant to spark the kind of emotional reaction that sends an entire fandom into chaos. But somehow, those are always the ones that matter the most. What happened that night at Goyang Stadium wasn't part of the official performance. It wasn't highlighted by stage cameras, it wasn't amplified by giant LED screens, and it certainly wasn't something fans expected to talk about for days after the concert ended. And yet, it became exactly that. A quiet, fleeting interaction between Jimin and Jungkook that somehow carried more emotional weight than some of the most choreographed moments of the entire show. If you've ever been part of ARMY, you already know this truth. Sometimes the smallest gestures say the loudest things. The stadium was alive long before the music even started. Tens of thousands of fans filled the seats, their light sticks creating a sea of purple that pulsed with anticipation. There's something almost surreal about being in a place like that, where every heartbeat feels synchronized, where every cheer echoes like a shared language. People weren't just there to watch a concert, they were there to feel something, to connect, to witness something unforgettable. And they did, just not in the way anyone expected. The performance itself was everything fans had hoped for: energy, precision, charisma, and the kind of stage presence that only comes from years of experience. Jungkook moved with that effortless confidence he's known for, his voice cutting through the air with clarity and power. Meanwhile, Jimin brought his signature grace, each movement almost poetic, each expression telling a story of its own. But somewhere between songs, between transitions, between the moments when the cameras shifted focus or the lights dimmed just slightly, something else happened, something real. Fans in certain sections of the stadium started noticing it first. It wasn't obvious. In fact, it was so subtle that if you blinked, you would have missed it entirely. Jimin had walked closer to where Jungkook was standing, their positions slightly off from the center stage choreography. At first, it looked like nothing more than a casual adjustment, the kind performers make all the time. But then it lingered. And that's when everything changed. There was a pause. Not a long one, not dramatic, but just enough to feel different. Jungkook turned slightly, his attention shifting away from the crowd for a brief second. Jimin looked at him not as a performer looking at a fellow member, but as someone sharing a private moment in the middle of a very public space. What was said? No one knows for sure. What was felt? That's where things get interesting. Because fans didn't just react, they exploded. Clips started appearing online almost immediately, recorded from different angles, zoomed in from different seats, each one trying to capture something that wasn't meant to be captured. The quality varied, the perspectives shifted, but the feeling remained the same across every single video. Something meaningful had just happened. And that raises a question worth thinking about. Why do these unseen moments resonate so deeply? Maybe it's because they feel honest. In an industry where everything is often rehearsed and repeated, spontaneity becomes rare. And when something unscripted happens, it breaks through the noise. It reminds people that behind the performances, behind the global fame, there are still real relationships, real emotions, real connections. Or maybe it's something more specific to Jimin and Jungkook themselves. Their dynamic has always been a topic of fascination, from playful teasing to quiet support, from chaotic energy to moments of calm understanding. There's a complexity there that fans have spent years trying to interpret. But what makes it compelling isn't just what's visible, it's what isn't. Think about it. How many times have fans noticed the way Jungkook instinctively looks for Jimin on stage, or the way Jimin reacts when Jungkook does something unexpected? These aren't scripted reactions, they're patterns, habits, subtle signs of familiarity that only come from time. So when that unseen moment at Goyang Stadium surfaced, it didn't feel random. It felt like another piece of a puzzle fans have been quietly assembling for years. But here's where things get even more interesting. Not everyone saw the same thing. Some fans described it as comforting, a moment of reassurance, like one checking in on the other. Others saw it as playful, a brief exchange that carried a sense of inside humor. And then there were those who believed it was something deeper, something more emotional, something that hinted at a level of closeness that words couldn't fully capture. Who's right? Maybe all of them. Because perception plays a huge role in how we interpret moments like this. What we see is often shaped by what we feel, what we hope for, what we believe to be true. And in an industry as passionate and diverse as ARMY, those interpretations can vary widely. But regardless of how you interpret it, one thing is undeniable. It mattered. It mattered enough for fans to replay it over and over again, searching for details they might have missed. It mattered enough for discussions to spark across social media, with people analyzing body language, timing, even the smallest shifts in expression. And it mattered enough for it to become one of the most talked about moments of the entire concert, despite not being part of the official narrative. That says something. It says that sometimes what resonates most isn't what's presented to us, but what we discover on our own. And maybe that's the real magic of it all. There's a certain intimacy in witnessing something that feels private, even in a space as massive as Goyang Stadium. It creates a sense of connection, not just between the artists, but also between the fans themselves. It becomes a collective memory that exists outside the boundaries of the performance. And let's be honest, those are the moments fans live for. Not just the high notes, not just the choreography, not just the spectacle, but the in-between moments, the glances, the pauses, the interactions that remind everyone that what they're watching isn't just a show, it's a story unfolding in real time. So what really happened between Jimin and Jungkook that night? Was it a simple check-in? A quiet joke? A moment of support? Or something else entirely? The truth is, we may never know for sure. And maybe that's exactly why it means so much. Because in not knowing, fans are free to feel, free to interpret, free to connect with the moment in their own way. And in a world where so much is explained, analyzed, and broken down, there's something refreshing about a moment that remains just slightly out of reach. Something that stays a little mysterious. Something that feels real. As the night went on, the concert continued, the energy never dropping, the performances never losing their intensity. But for many fans, that one brief interaction lingered in the back of their minds, quietly shaping how they experienced everything that came after. It's fascinating, isn't it? How a single moment, so small, so fleeting, can shift the entire emotional landscape of an event. And maybe that's what makes Jimin and Jungkook so compelling to watch. It's not just about what they do when all eyes are on them. It's about what happens when the spotlight moves away, even for just a second. That's where the real story lives. So now I want to ask you something. Did you see it the same way everyone else did? Or did you notice something different? Because that's the beauty of moments like this. There's no single correct interpretation. There's only what you felt when you saw it, what it meant to you, what it made you think about. And honestly, that might be more important than the moment itself. If this kind of hidden interaction fascinates you, if you love uncovering the details that others might miss, then you're exactly where you need to be. Make sure to stay connected, because moments like this don't happen every day, but when they do, they remind us why we watch, why we care, and why we keep coming back for more. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think really happened in that unseen moment between Jimin and Jungkook? Did it change the way you see their bond, or did it just confirm what you already believed? And if you felt even a little bit of that excitement, that curiosity, that emotional pull, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that go beyond the surface. Stories that capture the moments you almost missed, but never will again.